This series of 10 videos is the 5th series in a whole set of videos explaining the basics of how to speak, read, and write Al-Fusha or Modern Standard Arabic. These videos will explore the basics of using verbs in Arabic, and its 8th video in the series will introduce still more modal verbs, must, could, can, would, should, and so forth, and how to use them. So let's just begin with what we're going to introduce today with the min al something expression, where the something is an adjective. So we use this in English here and there, like it is necessary that we prepare for, I don't know, whatever it is we're preparing for, but we don't use it that much. And in Arabic, we use this all the time. So min here usually means from or among, but this is idiomatic. It's the it is what it means here. You could put theoretically any adjective in this space here and get it is something that, but I'm going to just concentrate on a few of the most common usages in this video. So a very common use of this formation is to say min al mumkin an. Mumkin means possible, and we can use it to say maybe in English. Are you going to the class? Mumkin, I might. So it is possible that is what we're saying here. Really, literally, we're saying among the possible that, but it renders into English as it is possible that. And then we'll follow this up with a conjugated verb in order to get across might or could in English. So I could say min al mumkin an, so it is possible that, and after an we need a conjugated verb in the present tense. So nahdura al hafla, we attend the party. So literally this sentence is going to come across as it is possible that we attend the party. But what we really mean is we might attend the party. So it uses more words. I guess it doesn't use more words than English does, but it seems longer. So I could say min al mumkin anna aisha tahtoraha. So I'm going to, because I have after the an, I have a noun instead of a verb, I'm going to change it to anna, just like we talked about in the last video. This is just a grammatical peculiarity. After an, you need a present tense verb. If you need to say a noun right after the connector, you change it to anna instead. And there are a lot of little connectors that work like this in Arabic. So min al mumkin anna aisha tahtoraha. So it is possible that Aisha attends it, where the first it in English is just this kind of pronoun that doesn't really refer to anything, and the it here is referring to the party, and the party, al-hafla, is feminine, so it comes across as Aisha attends her is probably a more literal way to render it into Arabic. But what we mean is Aisha might attend it, and presumably we've got context here to know what the it is standing for. So this is a very common thing to say, min al mumkin an. In dialect, you'll just say mumkin nahdor al hafla or something similar to that. You'll not use the min or the an in most of the dialects of spoken Arabic. Well, we'll learn it this way in Fusha or Modern Standard, and then it becomes pretty easy to learn how to do it in dialect. Another common use of this formulation is to say min al lazim an, where lazim means necessary. And note here that it's spelled alif lam and then lam alif. It's very common, I have found, for students at the introductory level to forget to put the second alif, or the second lam rather, in this word. So alif lam lam alif zay mim is min al lazim an, it is necessary that, and this gets across must or have to. So min al lazim an ektub al wajibat, it is necessary that I write the homework. In English we'd say I do my homework, but this is how we word it in Arabic. And then we could say min al lazim anna dhalika talib. Again, I've put a noun phrase in here instead of a verb, so I've changed anna. Yahdur asaf, it is necessary that that student, here's a great English, that, which puzzles the hell out of non-native speakers at first, attends class. Or in better English, I say, I have to do the homework, or I must do the homework, or I must do my homework. Presumably, if you were doing somebody else's homework, you would specify that with context. So min al lazim an gets across must or have to. There are about 10 other different ways to say must, some of them a little more complicated than others. You could substitute in the word ad-daruri for a lazim, and that gets across a little posher version of must or have to. There are a number of other ways to say it as well, but for now I'm just going to give you this one so you could master it. You could say must or have to, and then you can learn some of the other ways to say it as well. So min al-lazim an, min al-mumkin an, these are super common expressions that you will see all the time, and you can get across might or could, or down here in Atlanta, might could, which means something a little different, or must or have to. You can use the phrase min al-mafrood an, it is obligatory that, and that gets across should or ought to in English. So min al-mafrood an ahdur as-saf, it is obligatory that I attend class. So in all of these sentences in Arabic, the subject is this kind of undefined it. Whereas in English, the subject is the person who might or must or should do the action. So for you as a novice learner, this can be a little confusing at first because you're used to thinking of the conjugated verb as the subject of the sentence. It is obligatory that I attend class. In English, we're going to make I the subject of the sentence and say, I should go to class, where should is kind of a semi-verb. I could say, min al-mafrood an yadhhab ila al-mustashfa. So it is obligatory that he, whoever he is, presumably we know, goes to the hospital, al-mustashfa. It means the place where you seek recovery, or the place where you get your mustache fixed, is where I mostly tell students. So this means he ought to, or he should, go to the hospital. So these are super useful expressions because you can add nuance to the verbs that you've already learned to conjugate, just like you can in the previous video with want or love and so forth. And can was the other one. So now you could say want to do something, can do something, love to do something, might do something, must do something, should do something. So this really expands the range of the things that you can say in Arabic while only learning a few expressions and a couple of verbs. So really highly useful from a communicative standpoint. The tricky part about all these, like I've said, for an English speaker, is that the subject of these sentences is it, this kind of undefined it, and not whatever the verb's subject is. So because these are subjects that begin with it is, or the equivalent thereof, we don't negate them by using la for verbs, like we do with la urid, I don't want, or la uhib, I don't love, or la astati, I cannot. These are not sentences that begin with verbs. These are sentences that begin with these set expressions. Mafrood and lazim and mumkin, they're all adjectives. So we negate these sentences by using the word laysa for isn't and putting that in front of the min. And this is true regardless of who the subject of the second verb is. It doesn't matter. So laysa min lazim an ashrab ash-shay, yani it is not necessary that I drink tea. And laysa min lazim an nahdur dhalika saf, it is not necessary that we attend that class. So in better English, this gives me, I don't have to drink tea. I could drink coffee instead. I could drink nothing. It doesn't matter. I don't have to drink tea. I'm saying it is not necessary that I drink tea. So the wording of the sentence is a little odd from an English speaker's perspective, and that's why I've put the literal translations in black and what they really mean in English in blue, so you can see the difference between them, because I have found that if I just say laysa min lazim an ashrab ash-shay means I don't have to drink tea, this is going to confuse a lot of students as to how I got there. And then if they want to play with that, change it, negate it, put it in a different tense or whatever, they often come up with the wrong result. Whereas if you remember from the start that this really means it is not necessary that I drink tea, you'll have a lot easier time changing it up later on when things get more complicated. So if I want to negate the second verb, which isn't terribly common, but it does come up, I'm going to use a contraction. I'm going to put an for that together with la for no or doesn't, and I'm going to get Allah out of it. This is not Allah like God in all the prayers. That's Allah and is spelled differently. This is Allah. So watch out for the spelling difference there, because you don't want to mess that up, because it might be accidentally blasphemous. And accidental blasphemy is the worst kind of blasphemy. So use that in place of the an here. So I can say, min lazim Allah ashrab al qahwa. It is necessary that I not drink coffee. Or in better English, I must not drink coffee. I don't know, it's too late in the afternoon, I've scheduled a colonoscopy, who knows why I must not drink coffee. That's not the point here, it's just that you can be able to express yourself in this way. So watch out for the difference. Laysa min alazim an ashrab ashai is I don't have to drink tea. I could, but I don't have to. Min alazim ala ashrab al qahwa is I must not, it is necessary that I not, or I must not. There's some compelling reason why I can't, whether it's blasphemy or something else. So min al mafrud Allah yahtur al hafla, yani it is obligatory that not, I probably should have worded this better, that not he attend the party. And what we really mean is he shouldn't attend the party. I don't know, his ex is going to be there. Who knows why? They're playing terrible music. I don't know. But he shouldn't attend the party at any rate. This is not hugely common, but it does come up a fair amount, and it's another way to be able to express yourself. So the difference between it is not necessary and it is necessary that I not, or I don't have to versus I must not, will come up here and there. And it's useful to be able to have a pattern for how you can say it and understand how the literal translation comes into the more colloquial English translation. So here's a new verb, and I talked in the last video about how we can use ohib, I love, to do something. But that's a very strong emotion. And if you're just talking about, like, I don't know, shopping for thrift clothes, you know, you might not love it, you might just like it. So we're going to use this verb, a'jaba yu'jibu al-i'jab. It belongs to the same pattern of conjugation that want and love both belong to, which is why we use dhamma on the first syllable in the present tense, and then we use kasra on the middle vowel. Let's just work with the present tense for now. This is just here for completeness purposes. So this gets across, it means to please someone. And this gets across to like, or to like to do something. But because the subject and object are reversed to an English speaker, like Spanish me gusta, it pleases me, it means exactly the same thing. This can sometimes be a little tricky for a new Arabic learner to do at first and to fully master. So you could go on at your level and say, Oheb an ashrab al qahwa. I love to drink coffee, even if you don't really feel that strongly about it, and it'll get the point across to your native speaker friends well enough. But you can also learn to use this verb, which is awfully useful. So, yu'jibuni ashai. All right, so here the ni is the pronoun, and it's the object of the verb. The verb is it pleases me. And in English, you're going to say, I like. So in Arabic, what you would think of as the subject of the sentence, I, is going to be the object of the verb, me. It pleases me. The tea is really, or tea pleases me, is really what you're saying here. So this can be a little difficult at first, because you're not used to thinking this way in English. If you've learned Spanish before and learned to say me gusta, my daughter is learning that right now, it becomes really easy. But if you don't know Spanish, or it's been a long time since you spoke any Spanish, then it can be a little bit tricky. And if you want to stick to oheb ashai, I love tea, everyone will get it. It's not a problem. But this is just a little less strong of an emotion. You could say la tu'jibuha al qahwa. So coffee is feminine singular, so it's the subject of the verb to please. So that's why we say tu'jib, she pleases, instead of yu'jib. Shai, tea, is masculine singular, which is why it's the ya here. So la tu'jibuha al qahwa. So coffee doesn't please her. And what we mean is she doesn't like coffee. My daughter doesn't, it's insane. All right, so هل يعجبكم الرقص? So, yes, no question pleases you all. Dancing. Let me put my doma in here so I can make sure that you understand that it gets conjugated with a different syllable at the beginning of the verb because it belongs to this different pattern of conjugation that's completely not worth going into now. So, هل يعجبكم الرقص? Does dancing please you all? And we mean, do y'all like to dance? So once you master the subject-object backwardsness of this, it's actually pretty easy to use. You're only going to ever conjugate this verb in the third person singular. Whether it's masculine or feminine depends on what is doing the pleasing or not pleasing. But honestly, if you said لا يعجبها القهوة, everyone would absolutely understand what you meant, and probably 80% of them wouldn't even notice that you'd misconjugated the verb. And the other 20% would be like, we're so happy that our friend is learning Arabic that they wouldn't care anyway. People are super supportive. Native speakers are generally super supportive of you butchering the language at first and will really help you out. You can use it with an if you want to change the subject in the second verb. So I can say, يعجبني, it pleases me, an, and then يدرسوا, remember, because after an we have to make these little spelling changes, so they study, and then ma is with, ma'i, with me. So it pleases me that they study with me is literally what you're saying here. And then what you really mean is, I like them to study with me, or I like it when they study with me, you might even say in English. يعجبهم, it pleases them, an adrus, that I study, ma'hum, with them, gives us they like me to study with them. And you should be, by all means, studying with other people when you're learning Arabic, because some people are going to be better at some things and some people are going to be better at other things, and that can completely help you out. Absolutely get a study group together when you're studying Arabic, and just, you'll have a much, much easier time learning the language. But for now,